react to Kilmar Abrego Garcia as he is back in the USA to face shocking allegations. And so Megyn Kelly and Miranda Devine had a video explaining what's going on with this particular case. Let's take a look at this and go from there.
Garcia, Senator Chris Van Hollen of Maryland's favorite criminal. He's back. They went and had margaritas, and now he can have margaritas stateside with him because he's back, but he is in federal custody, and he is being charged with trafficking. So the DOJ, Trump says this wasn't his thing. He says it was Pam Bondi, and she announced on Friday he's back in the U.S. He's facing federal human trafficking charges in the Middle District of Tennessee, which is Nashville, charged with 1 count of conspiracy to transport aliens and 1 count of unlawful transportation of undocumented aliens. He faces 10 years in prison. They say not only did he transport aliens, he transported children throughout the U.S. in an unsafe manner. He allegedly abused undocumented alien females. He trafficked firearms and narcotics. His lawyer says deny, and this is an abuse of power. You're just trying to cover your mistake in deporting him to El Salvador, the one country he could not be deported to. And then on top of this, the government moved to keep him behind bars before trial. And in their motion for pre-trial detention, the feds allege that he, Abrego Garcia, Chris Van Hollen's buddy, murdered a gang rival's mother in El Salvador. Wow. You may remember, Miranda, that he only got this like withholding of removal order. They were deporting him. He had been found deportable, saying, get out. But they said, all right, we won't deport you to El Salvador because you convinced the immigration judge that if you go back there, you could get killed. And the way he convinced the immigration judge of that is he said, I'm going to get killed by this gang, this I can't remember the name of it. It had something, it was had the name, the 18th Street Gang. They're going to kill me. And the judge bought it. So that was the reason why we could deport him anywhere but not to El Salvador. And then when we deported him, he went to El Salvador, which, by the way, was fine because this 18th Street Gang has apparently been dissipated. And when the condition of the danger is removed, you can be removed. In any event, we've been fighting over this guy who's alleged to be a wife beater and a trafficker now. And what the feds are alleging, not as a claim against him, not as a count against him, but as a reason to detain him pending trial, is that they say, according to a co-conspirator, the defendant stated on how he got into MS-13. He participated in the murder of a rival gang member's mother in El Salvador, specifically the mother of an 18th Street Gang member. Later, as part of his immigration proceedings, the defendant claimed he could not return to El Salvador because he was in fear of retribution from the 18th Street Gang. And he tried to spin this as being about his mother making some sort of food that the gang didn't want her to make because they had like a rival business to it. No, what the feds are now saying is he killed one of their moms. That's why he was in fear of his life. This is insane. This is why you should really figure out these people's backgrounds before you go sip margaritas with them in El Salvador.
100%.
Absolutely. And before judges go making these bleeding heart decisions. Also Pam Bondi mentioned that they haven't charged him with this, but they're investigating allegations that this guy solicited child porn. So not a nice person. And I think that this was a Pyrrhic victory for the Democrats because, yes, they did manage to force the Trump administration to undeport him from El Salvador, but he's now been slapped with all these charges, and we can see who he is, who is the poster boy for the Democrats that they are willing to die in a ditch for. And it's this guy, the worst of the worst, alleged murderer, alleged wife beater, alleged solicitor of child porn, gun trafficker, drug trafficker, human trafficker, abuser of women and children. I mean, does it get worse? So I just, again, think the Democrats have tied themselves to this man. And the more we see of him, the less sympathetic he looks.
It's truly, it's insane. Here's Senator Chris Van Hollen, the buddy of Abrego Garcia. on where he thinks all of this leaves us. This is CNN on Friday.
You know, I will never apologize for defending the Constitution. In fact, it's the Trump administration and all his cronies who should apologize to the country for putting us through this unnecessary situation, and to Abrego Garcia for putting him through this situation and his family. All I have said from the beginning is that the Trump administration should respect the rule of law and the Constitution of the United States. So really, it's President Trump who should apologize to the country for violating his oath to the Constitution. I'm glad in this moment they're finally doing what the Supreme Court said, but they continue, Anderson, to violate the Constitution in many, many other cases.
Oh my God, it's a shocking, unbelievable what this guy just said. I mean, imagine taking pictures, having drinks with somebody that has done what this man has done in America, let alone what he's done in his home country. Listen, this guy needs to be persecuted, thrown in jail in the United States for his crimes, and then deported, effective immediately when he's done his sentence, if there's any time left. But we do not need people like this in our country. We don't, man. I'm an immigrant myself. My mom is an immigrant. We worked hard. We go by, we abide, we live by the law, and we respect the law and respect this wonderful country. We do not need immigrants that are criminals. We do not need that. We already got we already got killers. We already got murderers, rapists. We drug dealers. We already got that. They're born in America. We have to deal with them accordingly. We do not need to bring in immigrants that are going to do that and violate people's rights here in the United States of America. It's unheard of, and we certainly don't need it. And I just don't understand why the Democratic Party marries themselves to these people. It makes no sense. No sense at all.